holiday season, give the gift of peace.
I am your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I heard from social media that His Excellency, I'm emphasizing that word, His Excellency, Peter Gregory Obi, has offered to pay and meet the bail bond conditionalities for Dele Farotimi. This man, Peter Obi, His Excellency, emphasize, is the kind of leader you can trust, the kind of leader that cares, the kind of leader that is responsible, and people are willing to stand behind. Dele Farotimi was one of his major supporters and has been. There was gas explosion somewhere. Peter Obi went. He's been around the whole north, sinking boreholes and doing several other things, even though his mandate was stolen from him. A calm leader. I want to thank His Excellency Peter Obi for proving to be a reliable leader, for standing out of the crowd. God bless you. Dele Farotimi, God bless you for fighting for all of us. I've been discussing with lawyers and discussing with police officers, legal people, the rot in the judiciary and the criminal justice system is extremely terrible. And if this is what will bring the reform, let it come. Thank you. God bless you. I remain Dr. Charles Apoki. I want to thank all those young men and women. Some traveled, 2 women traveled from Abuja. People traveled from different places, went to Ado-Ekiti to show solidarity with Dele Farotimi. I wept. As I was watching the video, I wept. Could see young women, young men singing, risking their lives in a very hostile environment. It shows that there are people who have concern for the good and the future of this country, and that they are young people. There is hope. One day, the prophecy of Pa Elton concerning this country will come to pass. We are great people, we are good people. Majority of us winning laurels and exploits all over the place. But people are acting like viruses to destroy our nation. Those young men, those young women, Dele Farotimi and others, God bless you. I am Dr. Charles Apoki.
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given.
This is how I use AI to optimize my schedule. What if
I am Dr. Apoki. I don't know what is happening to my beloved country. I can't understand. It's only tragedy, bad news, bad things. Last Wednesday, 30-something children. Stampede, deleted. Today, was it yesterday? 30-something women in somewhere, I think it's Okija in Anambra State, deleted. 10 people in Abuja in a church, all because of palliatives. Palliatives. Rice. How many kilograms of rice? Maybe 10 kilograms of rice. When did we degenerate to this level of desperation and weaponized poverty? And our legislators were singing, "On your mandate we shall stand," because a disproportionate amount of the budget has been allocated to them. Only a few hundred human beings, while the generality of the people are suffering. And then somebody came up that they will arrest those that rain curses on those who on social media. Why don't you arrest the poverty? Let's arrest poverty. Let's arrest poverty. I was speaking to the women of the Bonny Forum, and the leadership of the Bonny Kingdom were seated there. And I was telling them that Bonny soil is good enough to grow rice. Who can grow rice? After all, where we import rice from, their soil is not different from our own. Thailand is marsh. They use water buffaloes and other things. We can grow rice. When the master of ceremony took over, he told the audience, that as far back as 1842, when Bonny had not signed a treaty to be part of Nigeria, the Bonny Kingdom, and that the visitors who came saw that Bonny was doing well. 1842, Bonny had a rice farm and a rice mill. Big one. And then Ughelli, I grew up to meet Rice Mill Street. Rice was cultivated in Ughelli until this dirty oil money came up. Tragically, somebody told me the whole Nigerian budget in Naira, if you convert it to dollars, is not more than the budget of New York State for 18 million people. Where did we miss it? Started far back beyond Tinubu, even far back beyond Buhari. I believe it was as a result of the Dutch disease. Dutch disease is a socio-economic condition in political economy where people leave agriculture and other forms of economic indices and or sectors and face only one mineral resource, like as we have faced oil. Shell is from Dutchland. When oil was discovered, they decided to leave everything and face oil. The same thing is happening here. Rice, palliative. We've become a nation of desperate people, a nation of beggars. When will it end? How will it end? And these organizers never learn. They never learn. I just did a video of the Jesus Christ principle of partitioning, segmentation, and dispersal of the process of distribution. Is it that we want to shine in the midst of this hardship and decadence? Something is wrong. There's a wrong spirit that is pervading this country, and a change needs to take place in our mindset. I said in the beginning of the year that the current people in positions of leadership even if Tinubu has a right perspective, a lot of those in these corridors of power today do not have the mental capacity and they do not have the will to effect the kind of change that we are supposed to get. However, it is coming to every person. Nigeria catches up with every person. I feel sick. I'm sad. I never anticipated this at this age in my life for this country. I am Dr. Charles Aboki. Sad.
Hello out there. My name is Laulu Akode and you are on to Inside Sources. But first, here is my take for today entitled, Why Nigeria Will Prevail. It's now 1 year since Inside Sources started. And one thing that we always say on this program is that Nigeria will prevail. When we say that, it means we know that Nigeria will win at the end of the day because every day there is a battle for the soul of this nation. But why do we always say that? Why do I specifically believe that Nigeria will prevail? A few reasons. Number one, there are more Nigerians who aren't satisfied with where things stand today and who insist that Nigeria can and should do better. That quest itself is a basis for transformative progress. If you ask me, but when will that happen? I will respond in the words of Nadine Godima, that especially with the latest news around the contestation between Chief Afe Babalola SAN and Mr. Dele Farotimi and all of the drama that we have seen. Joining me to have this conversation is a leading voice that has been calling for judicial reforms in our country, a law professor. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Professor Chidi Odinkalo. My brother.
Compliments of the season, sir.
Exactly, same to you. It's good to have you again right here in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So, Prof, please help us to, within the larger context of, what has happened, some of the fallouts that we have seen in the judiciary, quite a bit of concern. I remember the particular instance, I think it was 2020, when Justice Amina Ogi, made a very strong ruling against Chief Afe Babalola and one other senior advocate who had brought a case, that Supreme Court had decided, this Payelsa David Lawrence matter. And Justice Amina Ogi, now retired, gave a very stinging comment in our ruling to say that that matter that was brought back for the Supreme Court to review itself was not only vexatious, she even said that it is, in her view, a desecration of the Temple of Justice. And she went ahead to impose a 30 million naira, personal fine.
Punitive costs.
Punitive costs against Chief Afe and the other SAN. Now, so that tells us that there are issues around when the Supreme Court can review itself. Can you just educate us around that? Because it seems, in my own reading, I'm not a lawyer, but I think, this is must appeal to common sense.
I'm not sure that any lawyers in Nigeria left, by the way. That's another matter.
Because it seems to me that that's one of the crosses of the matter in this Dele Farotimi contestation, because he is arguing that the review that happened on the matter of the land case in Osakpa, London, in Lekki, is about the improper review of Supreme Court ruling in the case. So I wanted our audience to have a fair understanding of what is not and what is.
Airport Dad reserved his Uber ride months in advance. Now they're just in time.
Oh, thanks a lot. I like to preface everything I say about law in Nigeria with two health warnings. First is I'm not quite sure I can claim to be a lawyer anymore. Secondly, the reason for the first is many of the decisions that happen these days, I cannot understand them. The words, each word I read, I can understand. But when I piece them together, the logic just breaks apart in many of the decisions. Admittedly, not all.
Yeah.
And so I like to be careful about making any claims about Nigerian law, or indeed putting forward any credentials in law in Nigeria at the moment. There were fairly well-established rules at the time my generation made claims to entering the profession. There were fairly well-established rules as to how the apex court could change its decision and indeed alter a principle of law that was settled at that level. First of all, in terms of discrete decisions, there's something called the slip rule. So if there's a typographical error, or if there's a mistake, a manifest error on the face of the judgment,
right,
a court can alter it without altering the underlying decision.
Right.
Because after all, judges are human beings, and sometimes mistakes can happen, and some of those mistakes are not that fundamental. However, and to do that, however, you've got to make sure all the parties are present, so that it's open what's happening. And so there was a particular case in Lagos in which one of the most credible judges, probably ever to pass through the High Court of Lagos at the time, Justice A.L. Balogun, encountered something similar in his decision-making, but communicated only with one of the sides and not all the sides in the case. And the Supreme Court took a very dim view of that conduct. If he had not been Justice A.L. Balogun, known for his integrity, his personal integrity as a judge and as a person, I think for most other judges, he would have probably lost his job, for instance. But nobody, I had the privilege of doing my court attachment in law school, actually, with Justice Balogun, and he was an extraordinarily honest, decent man. That was what saved his position in that time. But the Supreme Court can, of course, overrule itself. And when it wants to overrule itself, when the Supreme Court sets out to overrule an existing principle of law, it convenes a full panel of 7.
Okay.
Now, in this particular case, I think what the issue, from what I understand, I may well be wrong in my reading of the facts, there was an original decision relating to 10 hectares of land or something.
Yeah.
And subsequently, on an application for a review, that then evolved to 250 or something.
Yes.
So a fairly significant alteration of the final of the interest, the underlying interest in the case. Now, I have not read the record of proceedings, so I'm not going to hold forth on whether or not there was justification for that. But of course, if you're having a change of that magnitude in the underlying subject matter,
right,
people may well have good reasons to question whether that is within the framework of the slip rule, or whether it is within the framework of an apex court, or indeed any court at all for that matter, to alter or review itself with a view to reaching that kind of outcome. I do think there could be legitimate disputes as to that, and I can see how such disputes could ultimately devolve to questions about the credibility of the decision-making. As I said, I've not read the record of proceedings, so I don't want to hold forth on that particular issue, but I could quite easily see that people may begin to think there are smell test issues involved in that.
Interesting. So in your own view, there have been quite a few commentary around how Dele Farotimi was arrested, how they came from Ekiti to Lagos and put him through a magistrate court that refused in its own ruling to deny bail the first time, asking that, look, go and bring a formal application. Days after, brought a formal application, and then they said that, okay, you know what, I'm going to take my time to decide. What do you think is happening in this matter, in your own view? What's your take?
Well, because of the way you framed the question, let me declare my interest. I'm one of those people who have who's done a commentary on this.
Okay.
So I don't want to come here and kind of pretend I'm innocent on this particular matter. But I think people need to know a few things about the underlying principles of law. Number one is that a magistrate's court is known as a court of summary jurisdiction.
Okay? Can you explain that to Nigerians?
Now, a high court, a magistrate's court is a court of summary jurisdiction, and a high court is a superior court of record. That means in the high courts and above, customary court of appeal, Sharia court of appeal, federal high court, national industrial court, courts of coordinate jurisdiction to the high court and above. Everything should be on record. And so a high court, if these charges were before the high court will be well within its rights to say, bring an application in writing, because those are superior courts of record. Of course, every court is of record, but not every court is a court of summary jurisdiction.
Okay.
So a magistrate asking for an application.
Sorry, Chidi. So a court of summary jurisdiction means that when matters come, you deal with it summarily. All right.
Exactly.
Just so I understand. Yeah.
So a magistrate asking you to bring an application in writing for bail on a crime or a charge in which the maximum penalty is 2 years, either has not gone to school properly or has a mission to fulfill. With all due respect. All right? Now, there are 3 categories of crimes known to Nigerian law. Simple offenses. Simple offenses are crimes punishable with not more than 6 months in jail.
Okay.
And so you can dispose of those with fines and easily. Now, then you have misdemeanors. Misdemeanors are punishable with not more than 2 years in prison.
Okay.
Those are also not exactly the most serious of crimes. Then, number 3 are felonies. Felonies fall into the category of serious crimes that are punishable with more than 3 years in jail. Right? Now, the maximum penalty, let's leave all the other jurisdictional issues. So let's assume everything is right in this case. The maximum penalty for this particular charge of criminal defamation, the charge is brought against Dele Farotimi, 2 years. Yes?
It's not a felony, actually.
It's not a felony under any circumstance. Now, there is therefore really no reason. There's actually no basis. That's no basis for this procedure of, okay, bring a formal application.
For bail.
And then instead of exercise, and secondly, that the suspect in this situation is entitled to bail as of right, because there is a presumption of innocence. But part of that is also a policy reason. In our prisons in Nigeria, over 75% of the people in metropolitan prisons are awaiting trial. Okay? That means that the prisons are not holding the kinds of people they've been built for, which will be convicts.
Yeah.
And therefore, we're spending assets and lean public resources on the wrong kind of people. And the average duration of pretrial detention is over 3 years.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, as we speak.
Wow.
That would be the average duration for a felony. And many of those people will never complete trial. And therefore, there are actually compelling policy reasons why the courts have to make sure that wherever the crime is bailable, they exercise the powers, discretion in relation to bail.
As it means perhaps also even decongest
precise
prisons.
Okay, so there is a presumption of innocence. The crime is modest at the very best. allowing for every other thing. And there are compelling policy reasons why the magistrate, as I said, any magistrate who will tell you to bring a written application for bail in this kind of case either needs to go back to school or has a mission to fulfill. On that, I'm willing to go on record. It is such a travesty of due process that it has to be said by somebody. But there is something else. You see, Nigeria has 37 or 38 legal systems. Every state is one legal system. The Federal Capital Territory is a separate legal system, and then there is a federal legal system. That's 38. And when you issue a warrant in one state for execution in another state, number one, the crime has to be a crime in the state in respect of which the warrant is issued. That's number one. Number two, when you take it to the state in which it is to be executed, it has to be, a magistrate in that state has to countersign and validate that before execution. We don't know whether there was any validation of the warrant
from Ekiti.
But what is very clear
sorry, you mean that the warrant that came from Ekiti had to be countersigned in Lagos?
In Lagos by a magistrate, a justice of the peace.
Right.
Okay? Now, that we are unclear about, and I'm not going to speculate about that. But when you are talking about issuing a warrant in Ekiti state for the crime of criminal defamation, there is no crime of criminal defamation in Ekiti in 2024.
Well, I read that, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please
I read that in your piece.
Yes.
So, Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, says that there are two states that are decriminalized.
There are three. Ekiti is the third.
I see. Okay.
Wale Fakbonda, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, was the Attorney General when that happened. Kayode Fayemi was the governor who signed it into law in 2021. You can verify from them.
Interesting, because, and I'm happy to hear.
Edo State has decriminalized criminal defamation. Lagos State has criminalized criminal defamation.
So Ekiti
State decriminalized criminal defamation in 2021.
Yeah, because everybody seems to respect Faponda, and when I heard about it, I was thinking that Faponda was Attorney General for quite a long time.
Wale Faponda was the Attorney General of Ekiti State, who was responsible for shepherding the.
So he actually also did that in Ekiti State.
Precisely.
So how is it then possible for Chief Afe Babala to write a petition, and the police acted, and they have now charged, because they've actually charged Mr. Farotimi?
Only the police can explain that, and the CP. Legal is a senior advocate of Nigeria, right? Now, so nobody seriously contests that criminal defamation. I'm honestly not sure that they knew that this was the case, that criminal defamation was not a crime in Ekiti State. But the argument now then evolves. Now that it has become clear that criminal defamation is not a crime in Ekiti State, the argument or the opposition has evolved or mutated. So they're saying, well, they are not charging him under the criminal law of Ekiti State 2021. They are charging him under the Criminal Code Act of Nigeria. Now, that does not exist as a source of crimes for the states.
Can you explain that?
And I will explain that. The Criminal Code Act was enacted as a colonial ordinance in 1916.
Okay.
At that time, we had 3 territories in Nigeria.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this,
start eating more of these.
Right.
Protectorate of Northern, that's Protectorate of Northern Nigeria, Protectorate of Southern Nigeria, and Colony of Lagos.
Right.
Right? The Criminal Code Act applied to the South, the Southern Protectorate, and the colony. In 1951, we changed from that structure of North-South colony to a federation. And then, following the work of Governor General Bodilan, we split up the South into 2 different regions. So we now had 4 territories: East, West, Lagos Colony, and Northern region. The North, of course, had the Penal Code. And the Criminal Code Act then evolved into the ordinances for the regions.
Okay.
Yes? Now, when the states were created, when Midwest was created by the referendum in 1963, it became legacy law for Midwest. And progressively, it became law, criminal law for the various states.
So what became criminal law?
The Criminal Code Act then got adapted
by
the various states as
Right.
a micro-territorialization. The
Right.
creation of states evolved. It then evolved with them and became the criminal law for the various states of
now
Nigeria.
created. Okay.
The federal government does not have powers. When you look at the exclusive legislative list, or indeed the concurrent legislative list, the federal government does not have powers for general criminal law for the states.
Interesting.
That means that the Criminal Code Act does not create any crimes for the states. It lapsed as a piece of source of criminal law for the states. The only
When it did lapse, based on this analysis now.
it lapsed not later than 1967.
Okay.
The only law, the only territory in Nigeria in respect of which it is arguable that is applicable is Abuja, because it's a federal territory.
Right.
And I say arguable. I could dispose of that, but it's not necessary for this particular purpose. But as a source of criminal law, it does not exist in Ekiti.
Interesting.
And Chief Afe Babalola himself was involved in a 2021 case in which the Supreme Court decided a similar principle. The case of CIL against Ekiti.
What's CIL?
It's the name of a company.
No, company. Okay.
Yes, but this was a civil case. And in that case, Ekiti State, as in this particular case, had legislated out of existence a piece of legislation called the Public Officers Protection Act, which provided for certain procedural measures in terms of suing public officers, right? Ekiti State legislated out of existence. And the argument was that since public officers were being sued here, the federal act, the Public Officers Protection Act, should be imported into Ekiti State to provide for what was not provided, what had been repealed by Ekiti State's laws.
Right.
The Supreme Court said no.
You can't do that.
That you cannot do that through the back door. Okay, you cannot back-channel legislation like that. If a state, as a federating entity, has elected to repeal a piece of legislation, you cannot force it through the back door to nevertheless be bound by a law that a state has legislated out of existence. So the principle of law here is very clear. Unless, of course, we're trying to manufacture something unknown to law, in which case we should say so.
It's interesting, this journey that you've taken us through, because I'm sitting down here trying to make a sense of the fact, as you have articulated, that criminal defamation is actually no longer in the books. And even Chief Afe's petition referenced that, police action. And it's quite, it's very worrying, for some of us to have to even imagine that in a country where we pride ourselves as free citizens, a country that we are no longer enslaved subjects, we are no longer colonial subjects, that the very idea of retaining that kind of a law, which had a colonial mandate, they brought the law just so they can harass our nationalities and stuff like that. But to now find out that, in fact, Ekiti State in particular has actually ended it's no longer extant.
That is what the situation is. And, indeed, in 2021 as well, wasn't it? The Supreme Court took time in a decision that it issued in 2021 to provide the history of Justice Ogunmiju. Supreme Court Justice Ogunmiju provided the history in great detail of the evolution of the criminal defamation laws globally, in colonial history.
Right.
And, she starts by saying it is an invention, an innovation in Star Chamber. The Star Chamber was a paid and bought for tribunal in late medieval England that was notorious for arbitrariness, for everything that a justice delivery forum was not supposed to be. And it was meant to be beholden to the sovereign and to be a place where basically, enemies of the sovereign, real and imagined, were humiliated and defenestrated. That's basically what it was. And to think that at this time, and if I could go further and say that in most of the Commonwealth, to be fair to the facts,
Right.
it's been eliminated. That the criminal defamation no longer exists. And the African Court on Human and People's Rights about 1 decade ago also eliminated it and actually said it does not exist in Konate's case. So the fact that we are here talking about criminal defamation and lawyers are, salivating about it is worrying. Now, let me be quite clear. I'm not at all saying here that there should be no remedies for injuries to reputation at all. No, not at all. Particularly reputations that have been earned through rightly earned through hard work and investment over time. Not at all. But those remedies exist in civil law.
Absolutely.
The thought of defamation is very clear, and it can be slander, which is where it is oral and publication is oral and not in writing, or it can be libel, where the publication is in writing or more permanent forms of omission. And for those, you've got remedies in civil law. But you see, this is where the problem arises. And for me, I've got to be fairly upfront about this. There's got to be generational responsibility, because our seniors in this vocation have made a mess of the legal process. Why are we having all these byways that are shameful? Because we've created a legal process that they themselves cannot get justice in. If you go to sue for defamation now,
it's a very important point.
You could be in court for another 50 years, right? You take 10 years through the High Court, 11, 12 years, 15 years through the High Court, preliminary objection, you go up to the Supreme Court, you get locked up there on an interlocutory point. By the time you come back, it is Lagos sued on a preliminary objection. Lagos, the most powerful state in Nigeria, in my view, was stuck in court for 18 years. And at the end of 18 years, the case was remitted back to the High Court.
Which case was that?
I think it was a lottery case.
Okay.
Right?
That. So
Lagos was stuck in I believe the case started for 2005 or thereabouts. Sometime around that, right? 18 years.
Wow.
Lagos was stuck in preliminary objections. Now, our seniors in this vocation made a lot of money and a lot of name
from
stringing out the process of litigation and making the process of litigation inaccessible to all but a few people. Now, in the twilight of their years, in the winter of their years, they find that they cannot get that same process.
Cannot deliver justice to them.
Cannot give them justice.
And so they have to now browbeat.
They have to manufacture things that are not in the law. This is my theory.
And I think this is what is happening. And it seems to now amount to punishing Dele Farotimi even before a court can hear his argument.
Look, I cannot understand how anyone can look at this in good conscience and call it law. What is happening in Dele's case? By all means, hold him accountable.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to hold brief for anyone on this particular matter. Okay? But every rule that can be breached has been breached with impunity. And mind you, the context is what? That Dele, it is claimed, has made allegations about judicial corruption, which are supposedly false. Okay? This is the arcana of the issue. This is the gist of the issue.
True.
And in order to do this, we are showing that there is judicial corruption.
It's incredible.
How do you do that?
I've had to have all kinds of contestation with my lawyer friends, even some of my, people that you respect. And I don't understand why they are not arguing for a fair process.
And that is the only thing that anyone with a good conscience in this particular matter should argue for. That is, do this by the book, so that we show that what he is saying is not true.
But now you have...
But rather than do that, basically, if Dele had actually conspired with people to show that everything he said is right, is said to have said in his book is right, he could not have produced a better script.
It's just...
at all.
Chidi, I must tell you, I find it very depressing.
No, I'm not depressed by this at all. I mean, I was telling a few colleagues not too long before this started that this issue the argument over judicial corruption and the state of the Nigerian judiciary is going to come to a crisis point. Maybe this is a crisis that it needs for everyone to see that these things are these things are as bad as people say they are. It is unfortunate, of course, that we have a magistrate caught up in this in Ekiti. Well, I was telling somebody the other day, it nearly happened to me in Kaduna State. All right, in 2019, the 2019 presidential election was shifted by 1 week.
Yeah.
On the 17th of February 2019, the governor of Kaduna State addressed a briefing in which he claimed that 66 people whom he said were Fulanis had been killed in Kajuru. Now, anyone who knows Kaduna State would know that this was a massive, massive bromide. Basically, it was an invitation to mayhem on the eve of a very desperate election.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Kajuru is at a frontier between the south and the north. And the Baju, sorry, the people of the Adara, who inhabit Kajuru, are really the second biggest indigenous population in Kaduna State, right? And of course, at the time, there were contestations between them and the governor of Kaduna State. And their votes could easily have swung things in Kaduna State in either the presidential vote or in the governorship vote, much more likely. And so the governor basically was doing a code red on an entire race. That is exactly was what I heard. When you say 66 people of any particular race have been massacred on the eve of an election, you're asking for war. You're asking for retribution outside the bounds of law.
Right.
The police had told him, please don't do this. We are trying to verify that. The SSS had warned him. But
he still went ahead.
He went ahead and did it. And so I wangled my way. It was here in this studio that I came on this studio and said he was wrong. What he said did not happen, and it was irresponsible for a governor to do so. And I said we have to call him out. And for that, after the results of the elections were declared, he was returned. He instructed that I be prosecuted for injurious falsehood and for incitement. What I said from this particular
Abuja.
In Abuja. And so proceedings were instituted against me in a magistrate's court in Kaduna State.
Interesting.
Nobody served me with the processes. Nobody told me that was happening. And from what I saw, they had called up the case twice. I wasn't, because I didn't know, there was no way I could have spirited myself to that place.
Oh my God.
And then a warrant was to be issued for my procurement from wherever I was in Nigeria. While that was happening, a good Samaritan in uniform saw what was happening and decided to locate me wherever I was. And so he called, I was sitting down one day. I usually don't pick up calls from numbers I don't know. And he called me. For some reason, I picked it up and he was like, this is happening here. And this is how far they've gone. This is the plan. And you've got to find a way of addressing this or do something to make yourself safe. So I had to instruct my lawyers in Kaduna State, Gloria Balasan, a House of Justice in Kaduna.
Right.
And we filed a preliminary objection in the court. We moved for judicial review. I can't even begin to describe for you on an open admission what happened in that case. But the good thing is we were able to slow walk the case. And when the magistrate retired last year, he actually did confide things that I find difficult to say. But part of what did happen was he was under pressure to make sure that I was reeled in. And for some reason, he had a conscience and decided he needed some excuse to not deliver on that.
And bail himself out.
And when he got the preliminary objection, that became his excuse for not doing it. But my friend Audu Mekori, who is also a lawyer of considerable seniority, Audu was abducted from Lagos, right? Stephen Keferson, another of my clients from Kaduna State, was abducted from Port Harcourt. And he was detained on the orders of the governor of Kaduna State, former governor of Kaduna State, for over 6 months.
Wow.
So these things,
this kind of stuff.
These things have now been routinized. I'm currently involved in some form in the case of Kizza Besigye, the opposition leader in Uganda, who was abducted from Kenya back to Uganda. But that's extraterritorial for our purpose. The thing is that governments are now doing these things. Of course, the extraordinary thing in this particular case is that this is procured at the instance of a private citizen.
Yeah, and a private citizen who many of us look up to, who is a legal luminary. Let me ask you, Chidi, I mean, you were formerly chairman of the Federal Government Human Rights Commission. Now, so this kind of a matter, which clearly breaches the human rights of Dele Farotimi, what's the role of the Human Rights Commission? Are they going to have an observation brief? Are they, what can Nigerians expect from the Human Rights Commission for this kind of, because this is human rights issue? I just wanted to know what you think about that. You're on that seat.
I left the Human Rights Commission nearly
probably more than a decade now.
Nearly 9 years ago.
Okay.
I left on the 12th of December 2015.
Okay.
That was my final day. And I've not been into the commission since then. I've not set foot on the commission since then. I've not attended any event by the commission since then, because I think it is proper to move on and not look back. Let others do that business of looking back.
Right.
But also you to afford oxygen to your successors to do things the way they are set up to do them. And I'm not going to presume to instruct the current managers of the Human Rights Commission, whether the chairperson, the governing council, or the executive secretary and his staff, as to how to conduct their brief. If I hadn't been chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, I would have answered your question quite volubly. But because I have been, I'll beg to recuse myself from that question.
From that question, okay. I mean, it just occurred to me that, if somebody were to make a petition, to the Human Rights, but I do respect.
I mean, the Human Rights Commission has an office in Ekiti.
Yeah.
So I should think that the issues here are sufficiently weighty for the attention of the Human Rights Commission. Okay. What they choose to do is up to them.
Absolutely, and that's fair enough. So how do you think that So you are one of the frontline voices when we're talking about judicial reform. What this case is representing to Nigerians is just reminding us that, okay, look, we do have a compelling assignment to try and reform the judiciary. First of all, how do you think this case is going to end? What's your prognosis?
As a person of faith, I never want to challenge the sovereignty or superiority of the Almighty. Because we are little pawns and nothings in the midst of providential plans. So that's the first thing. All of this, I'm a big man, I'm a big woman, I can do this, I can do that. All it takes is a providential touch on the light switch of your capabilities. And all of that is gone in a moment.
True.
And so for all, that's the first thing, that's where I want to begin here, that people also need to recognize it's, Nigeria is the one place where everything we begin with God, 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 God. And then when the moment comes actually for us to show that we recognize the sovereignty of God,
we do the exact opposite. We
fall our hand, as Nigerians like to say. Okay? So this is one of those situations where I begin that way. Do I know how this is going to end? I cannot pretend that I don't have a sense of how this could end. But it depends on what end means, you see.
Right.
Because, this case is going to have a sting in its tail. About that, I'm absolutely certain. I've got to say, I did my youth service in Ibadan. And you cannot pass through Ibadan without having some regard or even reverence for Emmanuel Chambers and for what has been accomplished in that place. And look, as Africans as well, whoever they may be, for people who have lived to 90 and beyond, we also do have natural regard for them. And there is a sense to whatever their shortcomings may be after that age, you've got to forgive, you've got to let go, and you've got to allow for the fact that the Almighty has given them, longevity in their innings on earth.
Yeah.
But what you really don't wish on any senior citizen because of that, also is for an obituary that then begins from the end, rather than from all of the accomplishments of the past. Accomplishments. You really don't wish that as the story of any senior citizen. And my hope is that in the end, that there'll be cooler heads here, and somebody will remind all the protagonists here, that we are all mortal, and very soon all of this will end. And if it's not for nothing that Christians sing soon and very soon, okay? Because whether you live for 5 years or you live for 50 years or 95 years or 112 years, it's actually soon and very soon.
True.
And that's really, it's not like I'm a very religious person. I'm absolutely not. But I'm a person of very deep faith. And on these things, I really, really honestly would like to hope that people understand that everything ends soon and very soon. And therefore, that we should step back and look at what do we want our obituaries to be. I hope this is not going to be anybody's obituary. So how can we avert this kind of thing? What has to change in our system? If you have any thoughts on that, what has to change in our system? And you have talked about judicial reform a lot, and I'm trying to not make it too generic. But how can we as a people prevent this kind of situation? That will probably be the subject of a totally different sit down, because it's a I've just finished a manuscript on precisely that issue. Okay. It's probably due out in another 3 or so thereabouts months. Okay. March, April next year, the book should be out. Okay. Addressing in particular the Nigerian situation with the benefit of some comparative information and experience, but also being fairly granular about how the manifestations of the problem, and how we can begin to make some inroads into trying to address it. But for me, at this particular time, the biggest single issue is redefining judicial independence and the values of judicial ethics. We made a mistake. We took a wrong detour at independence in accepting the suggestion that colonial rule endowed us with a legacy of judicial independence. That was the fundamental mistake because of two things. Number one, colonial rule as a fact was incapable of endowing us with an independent judiciary because colonial rule was founded on the opposite of judicial independence. Yeah. Every institution was malleable, was subservient to the colonial will. Right. So you could not have an independent judiciary. The habits did not exist either, nor did the skills, nor indeed the institutional neural wirings. So by the time... And there were no such visions when, Absolutely not. Yeah. By the time we became independent, there were no independent institutions anywhere. That meant, secondly, therefore, that we should have articulated a political philosophy to underpin, an institutional philosophy to underpin the building of independent institutions. We failed to do that. And I'm not saying this is not anything new. If you look at, say, Tanzania, Julius Nyerere in Tanganyika actually articulated a coherent philosophy of building post-colonial institutions that were independent and had affinity with the people. In South Africa, post-liberation, you had a coherent philosophy built by civil society and the ANC and the negotiating partners in the CODESA and then in Kempton Park. We had nothing of the sort. And as a matter of fact, as we began post-colony, you could see that with Awolowo's, with J.S. Tucker's treason trial, and then Awolowo's treasonable felony trial, and then Adegbenro and Akintola in 1963. That's 61, 62, 63. The unraveling of the whole institutional architecture. And then 66, we got into the military. Into the military rule. Okay? So It never happened. We never built those institutions, nor did we
Interesting
create
point.
the political consciousness to build those institutions. And so individuals then became potentates and principalities.
Yeah,
Okay? This is the underlying pathology we've got to address.
I agree, Chidi.
Now, addressing it will take time, and sometimes it may even take victims, okay, and sacrifices. Now, that means that we are now at the place, when you talk about judicial independence, the first thing is, Nigerian Bar Association should do this, NJC should do that, Chief Justice should do that. No. Judicial independence is so important that it cannot be abandoned to judges and lawyers and their incest and politicians.
Alone.
Absolutely not. It is so political. Citizens must take ownership of
Right.
it. That is why I've stayed on the subject matter, that we've got to politicize judicial independence and independent institutions we've got first to politicize the subject matter in order to depoliticize it.
And what you mean by that is that the conversation must go outside of the boundaries of legal profession.
Absolutely. Because if you don't do that, you will never fix that problem.
But what about what you said about the generational change, even within the profession itself?
Yes.
I think there's also a generational imperative,
Precisely.
because the ways that these things have been done up until now has shown, like you said earlier, that even the protagonist of the system itself can't even get justice.
And this is why I therefore levy a huge weight of responsibility and expectation, not on that generation, but on my own generation. Because we are a bridging generation. We are the last generation to have seen that Nigeria that offered a bit of promise. My
Right.
generation and you,
Right.
we are both the same generation.
Yes, true.
We're the last generation to have seen that Nigeria that offered some promise, and the first generation to have seen that Nigeria that is headed towards regression. We actually do now have the responsibility to force issues on this particular matter.
Interesting.
I was reading a convocation lecture delivered by Professor Soludo at Veritas University, and his opening line caught my attention. He said that he was there addressing them as the last generation to look after our parents until their death, and as the first generation who will look after our children until we die. Okay? So you and I are the last generation to have seen that Nigeria of creation's promise. And we are now that generation that potentially is looking at that Nigeria that is at cremation's door. Creation and cremation. That the question is, what choices are we going to make for the sake of our children, for the sake of their grandchildren? Because the IBBs and the Buharis and the Meka Anyokos and the Afe Babalolas are beyond the departure hall.
Yeah.
All right? The Bola Tinubus and Atiku Abubakars are not very far from there. We are the people left. And we've got to ask the question, we've got to ask serious questions of ourselves. And when we ask those questions, we should not be afraid of going to jail. Because prisons are not built for rats and rodents, they're built for human beings. And if we have to go to jail, we have lived a little bit of Nigeria that offered promise.
Certainly. Very interesting. And it's interesting that this is actually evolving. So I think that those leaders, especially those of them that have risen to become presidents, I think one of the last things they can bequeath us is to come out and say, you know what, let's fix these things. Judicial reforms, political reforms, and the economic, all the other things. Let's fix it across party lines, across ethnic lines, across regional lines, across religious lines, whatever it is that divides us. Because some of them have risen, where you imagine that they ought to have risen above all those divisions to become presidents, head of state. Now they've had it all. Is it not a good idea for them to say, you know what, let's come together and talk about elite consensus and get some kind of development bargain that we know is the basis of a new beginning for Nigeria? What do you think, Chidi?
I'm not even looking at elite consensus anymore. I'm looking at self-interest. Just brutal, articulate self-interest. You know, the first book I did in Nigeria was at the lead for a team that investigated prison conditions in Nigeria. It was the first comprehensive study of prisons in Nigeria. I was quite literally jumping into prisons across different parts of Nigeria to collect all manner of information and being seen off, thrown across the fences by prison wardens. 1989, 1990.
Wow.
We came out with a book. It was called Behind the Wall: Prisons and Prison Conditions in Nigeria. It came out 1990. And we launched the book at I don't know whether you know the NLC Hall in Tejosho in Lagos.
Yes.
When we launched that book, we decided to invite, guess who? Chief MKO Abiola. That was the first time I was seeing Chief Abiola. And nobody believed Chief Abiola was going to turn up. Okay?
He did.
On the day Chief Abiola turned up, NLC Hall, which wasn't a natural place for him, he turned up in person. He didn't send a representative.
This was
1990.
Okay.
And he gave us the biggest check we had received from any Nigerian for that project.
Yes.
Chief Abiola did not know that 8 years later, he was going to pass on a detainee. And whenever I remember Chief Abiola today, that is the image I see.
That you remember.
That man who, not knowing any of us, showed up for a subject matter in a place that did not seem to be natural to him. And so I will always offer a prayer for Chief Abiola and for the repose of his soul. And I will offer a prayer for his descendants. Because that, if he had known, maybe he would have done more. But even in spite of not knowing, he showed up. He showed up. That is all I ask of the Nigerian elite.
Fantastic.
That the person whom you save may well be
yourself.
May well be your family. And I could move on along this story with General Yaradua. Yes? But I want to just tell the story of Chief Abiola and why I smile talking about him. Because he showed up. For young kids, I was barely 22 at the time. Just under 22. Yeah, he showed up.
Wow.
Okay? And what I am hoping is that someday, as our elite begin to look into this future, they can begin to imagine themselves what happens when they are no longer here or when they are going. And if you look around our country, one thing may strike you: all of that political money. Think about all the kids, whose dads were big politicians when we were growing up.
Yeah.
How many of them have survived with that wealth into another generation?
It's very, very rare.
Thank you.
Very rare. Fantastic. And this is a very compelling point. It reminds me of, I think, was it John Donne, who says that don't ask for whom the bell tolls.
It tolls for thee.
It was for thee. I hope our elites are listening. That bell is tolling for each and every one of us. Thank you so much, Chidi, for a very illuminating discussion again. And thank you for your voice.
Greetings, everyone. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing? I brought this video for us so we can watch it because I think that Odin Kalu really nailed a lot of the concerns that most of us here have already expressed, right? There's no lie. Do not ask who the bell tolls, but bell tolls for thee. Isn't that what they said? And the funny thing is, when he mentioned stuff about the elites, anytime I hear the word elites and Nigeria in the same sentence, I mean, in my head, I'm like, but we don't have any elites, because the elites are just as poor, because in a land full of blind, in a land full of blind, full of blind men, the one-eyed man is king, right? Elites that don't care, elites that don't even live in the country, elites do not care about the everyday concerns of the Nigerians. Most of the countries is the elites that demand the changes that are happening. You guys saw the election that happened in America recently. Elon Musk played a huge role in that election. Elon Musk was campaigning for his candidate, preferred candidate. How many of your so-called fake carpet begging elites would do that? They think their interest first, because first of all, the money they have is not even their own. It's our all common resources that they have shared amongst themselves, where they are giving each other oil rigs, giving each other gold blocks. That's what they do. They've used money to close all their mouths, so they cannot speak for you. The only thing they're concerned about is about their families, their immediate families, and their businesses. It's simple. Even with their family, some of them don't even care about their wives. You know, the way they marry in Nigeria, Nigerians are not, their marriage, no, they make sense. People marry for the most useless reason. Do you understand? So guess what? To them, it doesn't mean anything. They can dump the woman and marry four more. You know, consign them. Okay, so we don't have elites. I don't see them waking up, because whatever is happening in Nigeria, until it affects them, they don't know. They form blind, deaf, and dumb. Their families that don't live in Nigeria, they don't. Their families live overseas, where they think that they are far from the dangers of the world and dangers of Nigeria, insecurity of Nigeria. So they don't care. They do not care. I'm sure you guys are aware there was another stampede again in is it Okija in Anambra State? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Another stampede in Abuja, 10 people. In Okija, they say na 20 elderly people. In Abuja, 10 people. Now every time, now you know, since when this stampede don't start, some of them happened the beginning of the year. I don't know if maybe some of you have forgotten. No talk of, they've been happening regularly. Even in Edo State here, all this cult activity and all of them. How many young people died in the process? You don't find that suspicious in Nigeria? These people are just using the lives of innocent people to renew their strength. They've told them it's time, to secure your position, all these things, and it must be done in such a way. Maybe it's too much movies, Yoruba movies I've watched too, that is affecting my own judgment here, but I can't take it past your leaders. I can't take it past your rulers. They are not even leaders. I can't take it past them. All they care about is their own pockets. They don't care. They want to remain in the power forever, if it's possible. If there was a way for them to buy their way to never leave this earth again, they would do it, just to remain in power. And I wonder, everybody's just moving along. They are saying they are doing Dirty December in Nigeria. Nigerians are busy discussing irrelevant, dumb, stupid things, very minute, mindless things. Instead of people to be galvanizing and calling for action groups to be taking place, people are busy engaging in all manner of stupidity. This is why the politicians don't care. To them, they do not care, because they look at you and they say, oh, these ones will be mumu. Amechi has said it clearly. Nothing you do to a Nigerian that they will react. Is it not playing out? Is it not playing out? How many Nigerians don't go since the beginning of this year? And all these numbers, by the way, that they are rolling out, say 10 here, 20 there, 30. They lie you. You know they know how to lie about numbers. If you go back and check, maybe that 10 is like 100. Maybe that 20 that they reported is about 200 or more. Maybe that 35 is about, who knows, 500. You don't know. Unless you know the individual families that these things are connected to, you won't know. And most of them, they will never give them the opportunity to express their pain. No network, no national network in Nigeria is talking about the stampede that's going on in Nigeria. Not one. I'd gone to check. I went on Arise. I said, let me see if they even discussed it. Nothing. Seriously. I went to channels. The same thing. If I missed it, please, you people should remind me. You people should let me know. I'm telling you, no network news talked, even mentioned. Okay, this is what is happening. How do we move? Nothing. Everybody's just moving on like every. You think that these things don't have ramifications? They do. They do have ramifications. So it has a way of affecting people. That's what people don't understand. We cannot carry on like this. The funny thing is that in Nigeria, until it happens to people directly, they do not care. It's unfortunate. They do not care. And you begin to wonder, and people will be saying they are praying. Which prayer are you praying? It's not prayer that will solve this one. No. It's action, active action. There is nothing like it is well. It is well will not solve this problem. It is well will not. It's going to touch. It's going door to door in Nigeria. Look at Dele Farotimi's bill. Is that one a bill? Do you consider that a bill? To me, I call it a gag order. $30 million. The man has to produce $30 million. Two people in Ekiti that have property, seizure of his passport, cannot give any interviews, cannot even talk on social media. What is that? Mr. Ferreira, welcome, my brother. Let me share my link. In case anybody wants to talk, in case Mr. Ferreira, you want to come in. Is that not a gag? That is gagging. That is not, there's nothing you can tell me. What are they so afraid of? If it wasn't the truth, why are they afraid? Why are they looking to gag him? Everything that Dele Farotimi wrote in that book is 100% true. 100%, no lies told, no lies detected. This is why they are all afraid and they are gagging him. Oh, no worries, Mr. Ferreira. No wahala at all. Enjoy yourself, You know? This is why. They're afraid of him. So guess what they do? They gag him. They put a high bail on him. I heard that Peter Obi, our leader, the man when we vote for, the people's president, is saying go pay the 30 million. The people when I don't know who they Ekiti when get property when he go use the property as shorty for Dele Farotimi. I don't know. They never talk that one. They seize his passport. If this one does not tell you that everything in that book is right, I don't know what else will. Everything in that book is 100% correct. They are so afraid. Look at how filthy the judiciary has become. You hear what Professor Odin Carlo was saying. He doesn't even want to consider himself as a lawyer anymore because the taste, the interest for the law, to practice the law is gone. Where you cannot serve justice for your client, where you have a client and it is now, who has more money to throw around the more, that will win the case, that will get the judgment. Is that one law? You have to know the judge, who knows the judge, who's related to the judge, before you can get an order. Hey, God, I beg you. I have said it before. I say, I don't know why people still they read law for Nigeria. Even the lawyers when they're in Nigeria, they're supposed mount protests. Waiting that they wait for. They're supposed mount, because now them that they use this dirty robe. Now them. Very soon, they're not going to recognize any license, any legal license from Nigeria. Make una they play. Now, life una say they play. So, very soon, they're not going to accept your license from Nigeria. Because una no even sabi uphold the law. See wetin your una elders, leader, legal luminary, they call them. Now then they use big word call themselves pass. See wetin they don't turn una profession into. None of una fit come together say no, this cannot go on. How many of una compared to the number of judges and justices? How many of una for the country? Everybody they quiet. They wait for which person should go drop first. The people, when they look for solution, when they actively they do them, una go come, una go condemn them. It doesn't work like that. You have to choose your battles. If you know you are not bold enough to and courageous enough to put your money where your mouth is and come out, you support those who are doing it. It's simple. It's not that you will not come and be criticizing those. You are not doing anything, but you are criticizing the person that's doing something. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. People are busy looking for ways on how to go. Look at other countries. They're looking for ways to find solutions to their problem. Look at what happened in Kenya. They use Ruto Mabo until he recalled that bill. They're not given, rests. Look around you. Only in Nigeria, they are throwing party after party, carrying musician after musician, coming to dull your senses. People are doing dirty, is it dirty December they call them? Dirty December, doing all sorts of, engaging in all sorts of useless, very empty-minded things. Meanwhile, your country is burning to the ground. You probably won't even have any country to go back to if care is not taken. Very soon now, they will slap you with BBN Nigeria. We not go hear word again. Engaging in irrelevant conversations. Irrelevant. That does not impact your life. You don't even know if you're going to have a future 2 years from now. With the kinds of politicians you have in Nigeria, 49.7 trillion budget. Everywhere is quiet. And we think it is normal. And then when you hear people who come out and are pushing and are saying, no, this cannot be, we cannot accept this, we must do something about this, you rush and you complain, but you're not doing anything though. You're not doing anything. You want to hold the hands of the person that's trying to even give you a voice. We can't continue like this. We can't. If you're seeing what's going on in Nigeria and you think it's okay, it's cool, okay, then wait for your turn, because it's surely going to come around. What goes around comes around. You're not going to be free forever. One policy, everything will change. 49.7 trillion. Which did they take 49 to the extent, what do they call Rufai Pikin stand up for House of Rep? They say no every year. Buy new cutlery. All the one they buy last year, for the first time. The people when they chop, they come, they cry out now. Only in nine talk. Meanwhile, there are many House of Rep members they there. Only in nine stand up, nine talk that thing. They go, they waste una money, una not care. Instead, una go rather rush. When they give away, una go rush onto your debts, rush onto rubbish. How many people we don't lose now? Count the number of people, because when they say 35, 20, 30, na lie. It's more than. If you go on ground, if they give you the number, you go shock. Because Nigerians are very good at covering up. They go give you small number. They say now over 2 million people buy during this time, during terrorism for Nigeria, but it passed 2 million. It passed 2 million. How many trillions they pay kidnappers? Me, I don't know. Now the amount when I get, now they take on talk for here. Anybody when know what they want to, you go find solution. You go join who get solution. They push and they go until it becomes action. Until it becomes action when people feel see. Because the way that Nigerians are going, it is not the way at all. It's not normal. In case you think it is normal, it is not normal. And it's really sad that children are growing up in that condition in Nigeria. They are growing up in it, in that mess. Do you know the kind of kids that they're going to become, adults they're going to become, growing up in this kind of messed up system? Eh? Somebody was telling me now a crate of egg is what? How much? A crate of egg, how much did they even tell me it was? Let me see. How much? Like was it 7,000? I can't even remember. Wait, a crate of egg in Nigeria. I scream. Beans when we say people now they gree buy for market back then. Almost 10,000 naira. It depends on where you live. Depending on where you live, it ranges between 3,500 and 10,000 according to Google. Beans when people know you go market now, beans you go, they see people know they buy beans for market because people grow these things. We grew as a child, we grew beans in my home. We didn't buy beans. We had bags of beans in my home. We never bought beans in my home. But then again, we hardly bought food in the market because we grew our own food. People cannot even afford anything. Okay, go to the farm. They can't go because terrorism has taken over the farms. And then people will now organize all these things. They have their own motives behind their minds. They have something else they want to do. They will now invite people. How can you invite people and not put the proper measures in place? And they will not get stampeded. Don't you find it suspicious that this stampeding of a thing happened just too frequently? Don't you think that there's something more sinister behind it? You don't think so? Everybody is asleep. Nigerians are sleeping. Dirty December. According to them, I don't know when did they even start this dirty December. These things are very new to me, relatively. I know people who go home for Christmas. I've gone home for Christmas at occasions too, right? When but all this whole dirty December thing is just new to me. And then I saw a video of a family in a boat. Hey God, no life jacket, nothing. That's why they shout throughout the video. I'm like, hey, let these children not fall off. One of the child was standing by the ledge of the, hey God, Nigeria, oh, that place is a jungle. That family, the man, the wife, they're supposed to flog them. How can you endanger your children, your family's life like that? If to say anything happen now, that's the end of that family. No life jacket in sight, nothing. Wasn't that how that actor, what's his name? That actor that died recently, I can't remember his name now. The actor that died, they offered him a life jacket, said it was too dirty, he didn't want to wear it. He got the kind of death. I don't understand. I don't get it. The things that Nigerians should be concerned. Look at Kenya. When this thing was happening in Kenya, you had all Kenyans, including those that were on TikTok that used to do dance videos and all of them changed their content. They were reading their constitution, they were reading the bill, they were analyzing the bill, they were educating their people, they were using hashtags. Then I was still on Twitter. You see Twitter spaces, they will come, organize Twitter, 50,000 Kenyans, 100,000 Kenyans. The space they crash, they start another one. People were taking turns. Welcome, Gist and Chill TV. Welcome. I'm telling you, they have finished the country. Oh, Black Panther, welcome. Oh, good day, my brother. How you day? Yeah. God will strengthen, give us more wisdom to keep the fire burning. We get our land back. If they don't, we go and separate ways. Now, police said if you abuse, not mind them. I saw that thing. I'm going to bring it. Actually, that that useless man, that policeman, whatever his name is, the things that they should be busy about, they won't concentrate on, is the one that does not concern them. Yeah, of course they're cowards. Social engineering, dullness of the human sense. Exactly, my brother. Exactly. Do you know, I don't know. This whole dirty is a new term for me. I don't understand it. Like, what's dirty December? Me, I don't understand. What is dirty in the December? Does somebody know what it means? Because me, I don't either. It's just something I've been hearing. I'm like, what is the meaning of that? I don't get it. Where did they coin that from? Does it mean something? Is it an acronym, I'm telling you, Kenyans, till today, Kenyans have my respect too. When I see Kenyans, I give them special respect. I'm telling you, brilliant people, my goodness. Highly intelligent. Men, Kenyans are way high and above. The Africans I've met, Kenyans are top tier. I'm sorry. Argue with your keyboard. Top tier Kenyans. Oh my God. The women are powerful. Oh my goodness. Oh, no. I have to give it up for Kenyans. No. They showed up and they put pepper for Ruto eye. So Ruto can't get beg. Hey, man, those days were sweet. I used to come into their spaces just to listen to them and observe. My goodness, the way they were, if they had Ruto come on space now, that period of time, they dragged the man's ass to space. He was talking. See the questions the citizens were asking him. Tough questions. No beating about the bush. They talk to am anyhow. Tell her wetin dey their mind. No. Since that day, I know they use Kenyans play. If you talk so you be Kenya, I dey dobale for you straight up. Twale, straight up to my Kenyan brothers and sisters. I greet you people specially. Respect. High respect to Kenyans. Don't play. Kenyans don't have time. You see this rubbish we are doing in Nigerians. Kenyans do not have time for it. No wonder they are really that Mao blood is still in them. Their ancestors were warriors. It still did their body. It still did the DNA. Is wired into their DNA. That Mao rebellion, when they deal with all these Oyibo people, it still did their body. All the tribes. Kenyans have different tribes. They came together. Look at them calling in and calling out Ruto, demanding him to. The man started to beg. All the House of Rep members and their representatives, or whatever they called them in Kenya, they were running for the bushes. They were eating inside the bush, inside forests, because the people chased them out. But Nigerians are busy. You will go, they will tell you they are sharing rice here. You would rather go and die for a plate of rice than say, you know what, I don't want your food. Keep your food, keep your this. I can farm, I can produce my own food. Give me my freedom. Give me my security. You rather die for a plate of rice. Look at how human beings, the body, they don't desensitize Nigeria with a lot of killings. But dead body not mean anything again. Before you see dead body, you go shock. It go take you some days to recover. Now it's like nothing. It's like nothing. When this Oyibo man come and talk, say it's a shithole country, everybody they cry. Please, why are you crying? Is it not a shithole country? Is it not? At this critical time in Nigeria, where this loss of lives are happening back to back, you will expect that every Nigerian, young and small, they will come together, start forming groups and say, no, this must end, educating each other. No. Once they fit chop for their belly, that's it. They no, it no concern them again wetin dey happen. It no concern anybody again wetin dey happen. Eh? That's why your politicians keep doing what they are doing. 49.7 trillion. Yet you cannot afford, you can't even buy a bag of rice. They are budgeting 49.7 trillion naira on top of your head, and you cannot buy a bag of rice. Your businesses, they will frustrate it. Look at the property of this of a Nigerian in Abuja, the first cadet, right, in Abuja, that they took the property away. Apparently, I heard the woman, the family is PDP or something like that. Apparently, the Rita Lori is a powerful woman. At one time, she used to be in PDP. You see how life is? One policy, one bad governance. Guess what? They don't take the land from them. Give out to another person. Land when you don't hold for 40 freaking years. Person come. Because now new government, you take them from your hand. When that woman was giving that interview, I did cry. Old woman. I can't wonder, where are her children? These are her children, and they're supposed to run this thing. Maybe this woman not go get hypertension at her old age. 40 years property just taken like that. And Nigerians just turn the other side. No, it no concern me. No be my property. I don't live in Lagos. I don't live in Abuja. It doesn't affect me. This one, that one. Meanwhile, while that woman was crying, there's another lady. Apparently, I heard there's a story that came out. Another lady who, what this woman's T-Pain's wife does, she will get dressed with her orderlies or whatever. They will drive around Abuja looking at choice properties. There's a particular woman's property they saw. This woman went up to the woman and I was asking her questions about the property. How long have you been here? Next day, Wike sent people to go and uproot her from that property. This is what is going on. Do you guys know that? Do you guys know that they're arbitrarily taking away people's properties? They're arbitrarily taking away people's properties, and nobody is saying anything about it. Nigerians just move over like, yeah, it's not my concern. It doesn't concern me. No cuckoo concern me. My family is not involved. My father, I don't, everybody just moves along. And we expect that the country will on its own get better. Instead of everybody to wake up and say, okay, this person is fighting for us, let's join hands and fight with them. Let's join hands and let's join, since Sowore has the voice, let's join him and ensure that we bring these people down together. So that when we bring them down, we can now, go ahead and do what we need to do. No. Is this, is that? Okay, who else is making plans and planning? Who are the people working? Nothing. So are we supposed to fold our hand now because, okay, you feel a type of way about what Sowore is doing? Are we supposed to fold our hand and just be looking at all these things happening? Nigeria is a dead country. I hope you know. There is nothing that can make Nigeria move forward with the level of injustice that has happened in that country. Somebody sent me a video recently of some of the events that took place in the Biafran War. There was an audio part of it where Ojukwu was talking. They did not want to go to war with Nigeria because they didn't have enough weapons. They didn't want to. They were reluctant to go. They were reluctant. He said, we don't really want to go. We're reluctant. There's a reluctance to go, but we don't have a choice because it's almost like they needed to do it. We have to do it for our own survival. Do you know what that means? Put yourself in that position where you are, it's almost like it's either you sink or swim. You either sink or swim. The atrocities that has not been addressed till today, you think that is just going to go away overnight? It's not going to go away overnight. The number of people they keep killing in the north in the name of Nigeria, You are part of that country. You think it's just going to go away? It's not going to go away. Niger Delta Anko, the Okwama community, till today, we don't know what happened for that Okwama community. I only heard recently on one of Dr. Apoki's videos that one of the leaders of that Okwama community, the man just died in custody. We will never know the truth of what happened in Okwama. You think that's just going to go away? It's not going to go away. What about the South? The innocent people that are dying because of cult activity, or some maybe people that are doing all manner of things, organ transplant, whatever it is that they are doing, harvesters and the rest of it. You think it's going to injustice after injustice after? What about that young boy that they sentenced to life to death by hanging because of foul, kukuruku in the morning? Foul of how much? They want key person on top of foul when it thief. If person thief food, you know say na hunger make am thief food. There are sentences you assign for those. It not reach the sentence when they give crime of stealing, petty stealing, is too much. You see, say the system, the judicial system in Nigeria is totally kaput. Rubbish. If I were a lawyer in Nigeria, I'll be ashamed of myself. I will unrobe. I will just go and hang my robe somewhere. I won't even want to associate. Because your hands, you will be part of the whole, you'll be part of the blood if you continue to practice that law that has sentenced people. Do you know how many innocent people are rotting in jails in Nigeria? You don't want to know. The number of innocent people, do you know what they do? When a big man or a big man's child commits an offense, they will use one of those people to complete their sentence. That's what they do. That's what they do. There's going to be a fight. After that fight, if we move further, it will tell you see all what is this Fulanis are doing will not work. Rather, it will make us wiser. We get there. Let's keep the pressure. They want to keep the minds of Nigeria busy. 30 December, whatever. It's mind control while they will be busy looting some. Yep. Nobody love Nigeria. Politicians, no. Majority Nigerians, yep. One thief get up today, another. Exactly. Olegbe. Thank you, Mr. Ferreira. Olegbe. One thief get up today, another thief carry am. 40 years of owning property for one person to just show up because you no support am politically. He want to show you, say, yeah, now I'm in control. I'm gonna deal with you. I hear say they say make the woman come see the president. The president invite am. T-Pain, not be my president, to God forbid. T-Pain invite am. Make come see am. The woman turned it down. She didn't want to because apparently it's political. Can you imagine? Hey, Nigeria is a terrible place. You invest in Nigeria, you invest at your own peril. Hey, God, I beg you. You buy property finish, you don't even know. The person when you sell am to, if he give you C of O, when you reach there, you maybe the government go decide say they like that property or more. They go generate C of O when backdate your own. Tell you say that's your own when you get not pure. What you want do? Waiting you want do? Nigeria is a jungle. What do you want to do? Who you want hold? You heard when that what's it called? I didn't even know. It was somebody who told me that the man that came to give the interview after Madame Laurie came is what's it called? Is Agbado's daughter's husband. Oh my God. Almost if Nigerians not get sense, I don't know when they go get sense. So if they not get sense now, I don't know when they will get the sense. Wallahi. If we keep folding our hands and expecting manna to fall from heaven and expect that, oh, you are preserving the life. Which life are you preserving? Life that has turned to turn by turn. It's only one turn. I mean, the people that were basking in political power yesterday, 2, 3, 4 years ago, where are they today? Where's Buhari today? Me, I hear say they take Buhari land for Abuja, even though they came out and denied it. Where are they today? They don't have voices anymore. Their voices are lost. Now other people dey now, and these same people they forget what happened to their own counterparts. So then things say, we are wiser, we will do it better. So their big manism, according to my brother Mr. Ferreira, carry shoulder. Yes, now we dey in control now. Our no come, right? So they are doing and undoing, not knowing it is the same fortune that awaits them. Because no matter how wise you think you are, no matter how cunning you think you are, there'll be somebody who's more cunning than you, who is much more wiser, who can upend you in every way possible. There will always be. Until Nigeria begins to heal. I remember when Ahmed Dati and Pio were coming out, and they keep saying, first we start the healing. They always said that, very important, until Nigeria heals the land. The innocent lives that have been taken, their blood is crying out till tomorrow, and they keep spilling more. There's nothing you will do in Nigeria that will progress. I'm sorry. Even with all the abundance, it will be somebody else that will come and be feeding off of it. Why? Because of the multiple injustices on that soil. Go and build your houses. Go and do whatever investment you want to do. Right? Go on. Go to Lagos and go and do investment and Abuja. You will cry blood. Oh my God. When they will show up and say, no, that land, you are not supposed to take it. All the money that you have spent, 50 billion, 1,000 million, whatever, they will crash everything down. Your government in Nigeria does not pay. They don't pay compensation. Even though they pay, it's only the ones they know will impact them that they will pay. In case you don't know. Other places within Nigeria that people can go and invest in and all of that, the roads are not good. So even if you say, okay, you want to go and invest in far interior, how do you transport your goods from place to place so that people can have access to it and be able to make your money? Roads are not good. Look at the accident that a complete family was involved in recently. A grandmother died, mother, children, all of them critically injured. No ambulance to even transport them. They had to Harrison, I forget his last name. That guy had to transport them in normal vehicle to hospitals. If that sight does not humble you, I don't know what else will. We keep doing this, going through the same circle every year in, year out. Nigeria keeps getting worse. Do you ever ask yourself, why is Nigeria getting worse? It is getting worse because the foundation is faulty. There's too many innocent blood in the ground that are crying out for justice. That justice has not been given until every last drop of blood has been appeased on that land. Nothing will work. Nothing will work. There'll be confusion, and that's what we're seeing. It's going to be confusion. Everybody will be fighting everybody. Anything that anybody throws around will be heightened. Look at now, recently, is religion they want to cook up. Religious war is what they are playing with now in Nigeria. Muslims are abusing Christians. Muslim Yoruba is the northern Muslims are abusing the Yoruba Muslims. That one, there's a fight going on there. The northern Muslims are claiming that the Yoruba Muslims are not Muslim enough. What did they tell you, John, do for Nigeria? The number when they take and do. Oh my God. You need to see the arguments they are having. You need to hear what these people are saying on top of somebody else's borrowed religion. Eh? Now you know whether one they serve God pass or whether one know they serve God rich. And I never see this kind of thing for my life before. Meanwhile, your GOs and your ministers, they don't care. If Kasala boss, they go enter their private jet, they go base. What will become of you that is the follower? You think they will carry you in their private jet? They won't though. They will not. Shebi Deeper Life pastor relocated to London. He and his wife. Now there they did the new wife when he married that time. They relocated to London. Now so all your GOs and the rest of them go. You no ever wonder why your GOs and your pastors not they live abroad. You never ever wonder. They cannot. The life is not easy. They won't have access to maids, driver. They won't see people praise singers. They won't see people telling them, daddy, mommy, bring your bag, carry your bag for you. Treat them like whatever. Carry them like they do them like a houseboy. They won't see all those people to be treating badly. They won't see somebody that will be coming to clean their bedroom for them, cook for them. Omo, you want to hire a chef here, you go pay through your nose. Your money rich. You won't get in-house keeper for inside your house. You go pay through your nose. It's not beans. You go to work, you go to put them for their hand. You got a profession for here. People they get diploma for them. They go school, they get certificate for this kind of things. But they won't. They will stay in Nigeria where they can oppress you. Excuse me. Where they can choke the life out of you. Where they can use you and replace you anytime they want. Where they will have multiple drivers, multiple domestic staff, where they can milk you of everything you have. They have schools your children cannot attend. But every Sunday you show up, every Wednesday you show up, you pay your first seed, pay your tithes, pay your offerings, but your children cannot afford to go to the schools that they have, that they've built. Your children can't. I was reading somewhere that somebody wrote that Islam is going to take over the world because the numbers. Everybody they fear the religion all over the world. Okay, so my own is this: if Nigeria may they not get it right. If we make we they engage in frivolities. If we let us not join those that are doing the work already on the ground. Look at this girl, this activist girl that they locked up for no reason. Why? Because she insulted the police or whatever they said she insulted. They locked this girl up. Female activist. Her name is Abiodun Thomas. On the orders of Prince Moye. That same Prince Moye man, when he talks, he say for criticizing his comments on officers' excesses. Okay, make we go the Prince Moye. I want to pull him up. Prince Moye. Oh. See, the man, when they say mouth in futh, right? Oh, Nigerians rained heavy. See, the man wrote yesterday, right? Raining direct curses on someone online is cyberbullying, not expression of freedom or criticism. And cyberbullying, which is even different from defamation, is a criminal offense and punishable. Be guided. Hey, these people just they make laws as they go. So somebody now went on because they have this correction side on Twitter. There is no section of Nigerian law that supports this claim. The law that Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the ignorant PRO of the Nigerian police force, is trying to cite, was repealed in 2024 in response to an ECOWAS court order, and the person attached a copy of the section in the new cyber crimes. They went in on the man. Oh my God, Nigerians! Oh my God, they drag the man come out. They give him a lesson in law. Man, they finish this man. Omo, this is your a whole PRO. Oh, no, forget Nigerians until we ready. Omo, no forward movement. Oh, no hope. Me, I've said my own. No election 2027. That one, I've already told you people. If you people like, if you like, oh, you continue. There will be no election whatsoever in Nigeria. As we speak, they've already written out the numbers they're going to provide. They're going to declare on that day. They will say, we hereby declare that so and so person is the winner. Una no get what una go do. Na see shout, na go shout. Anybody when they, as with all these things that are happening in Nigeria, if we had a strong opposition in Nigeria, they will not be giving them rest. They'll be having headache every day. But no, there's no opposition. There is no opposition whatsoever. The opposition, just like the main party, greedy bunch. It's all about their pockets. It's all about what they stand to gain. Nobody is speaking anything. With all this stampede happening up and down, this terrorism, meat for opposition when it's serious. Serious meat. When you go, they go bumper to bumper. You go, they shake them everywhere. No, everywhere is silent. If it's the citizens that care, that are coming out and crying, those are the ones that are now they are now even the opposition, but they are scattered all over. You need a strong opposition. Where is the LP? LP is inside gutter right now, in case you people don't know. LP is gone into the abyss. Let's not even talk about PDP. It's crazy. You lock a woman up because she's insulted you. Is that not lame? Police station when people suppose overwhelm. How many police there in Nigeria? When you go overwhelm the place, they're not going to get choice. They will have no choice but to release. Look at when Deborah, when they do that evil to Deborah, the person when commit that act, you see as everybody rush come out, they not agree. Till today, we don't know the person. The person when do that to Deborah, now till today we not see him. Till to this very moment as we speak. Selective justice, that be for Nigeria. When you go overwhelm, take over the say wait till you they lock them up for. Look at how many days Dele Farotimi spent. In a normal country with functioning human beings, should that be allowed? Your voices are being gagged. You're not even concerned. You're not afraid that you won't be able to speak the truth. If nobody is calling these politicians out, you think that it's going to get better? They are drowning your voices. The only voice you had that had the power to speak it as it is, they hold them. Una not go to the police station, go overwhelm them for there. Where they take hold them. I'm sorry for now, Nigeria. I'm sorry. Now, Matt, I fit talk my own for you. Now, where I get power reach, now they talk. Hey. Now wow. I don't know. I don't know how long we will continue in this way. I really don't know. I'm hoping that Nigerians start to wake up and join Shore to really activate. That's all I'm saying, because he's the only one I see with the courage and the balls to do the needful. Every other Nigerian is sleeping. All they do is talk, 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 talk. No solution, nothing. Just empty words. Talk, talk, talk. No solution. Now to they talk, to they talk, to they talk. Empty. Well, I don't have anything else to say. I just wanted to come here and bring the obvious to you people. There's no issue that I discuss here that you guys don't already know. So this is where I draw the curtain. No, for me, we'll go see again at another time. Now, thank you very much. Oh, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I will see you guys on my next one. Hey, Nelly, how now? I'm just signing out now. Nigeria situation. Just come air my own thoughts on the whole thing. How you day? Happy Saturday, Nelly. How now? Good to have you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, well, guys, please, like I said again, I'm going to repeat it. You guys should join Showore. Preach the message to people. This is not about politics. I beg you. Okay? Put your emotions aside. He's the only one with the balls, the courage to stand up to these people and demand for the change. He's the only one. I don't see any other person out there. If you see, let me know. Me, I don't see. I not see. I never see anyone come out. They demand change. They call these people out by their name. Now, now they see on the side of everybody when they arrest. Now they call them out. Now they talk. Now they do. The only him I see action wise. So if there's somebody else that is doing something that's better than what Showore is doing, let me know. Until then, keep your emotions inside your portmanteau. Nobody cares. There are people that are dying every day because of these crazy lunatics that we have. Okay? That are running their affairs 49.7 trillion. Do you know how long that's going to take you to pay? In fact, those people that they take this money, they're not going to be alive. Oh. They will not be alive to spend it. They will not be alive to spend the money that they are collecting in your name. It is your children, your children's children, your children's children after that. Okay? Those are the ones that they will leave. Meanwhile, there are no jobs. Your children's future is very bleak. In case you don't know, look around the world. Okay? You heard what Odinkalu said. We are the last generation of people that will take care of their parents and the ones that will continue to take care of their children. Before you go take care of your parents, then when you reach one stage, you will come and take care of your parents. Then you will get children. Your children go consider taking care of you. Right now, you are doing it both ways. You are doing it both ways because these children now with student loan, everything, depending on where they are going to school and all of that, even when they go to the school, jobs are not readily available. They are ending up having to, do other things that probably don't give them as much money and stuff like that. So, it's a long thing. I don't know whether people are reading more into this whole situation that's going on. Instead of Nigerians to be gathering themselves in little corners and discussing how this country is going to move forward, they are busy doing Dirty December. I don't even know when this whole Dirty December started. I don't know what it means. They are involved in frivolities, talking about issues that have no meaning, no sense. People are building their communities, building their nations, having a plan for their nations. No, Nigerians are busy talking about rubbish and nonsense. Thank you very much, Onelli. Myself, I don't see anyone. No, now let's show where I see. So now in name now they call. So I shared it on my community page. If you want to join the group, join. It did there. Go and join. If you are a snitch, join. All of you are welcome. Okay? Judases, join. All the disciples, join. Whichever one you be, join. We have a country to save, because guess what? Nobody send you. If you are waiting for your elite, they not send your papa. They are only about their pockets. It's all about the bag for them. They don't care about you. Their lives are secured. Their children's lives are secured. Right? So 30 December is so stupid and shallow. All they care about is I'm telling you, cheap entertainment. I'm not on Twitter anymore. So I have friends who've been sending me like links and Instagram and and I'm like, Is this what is it what Nigerians right now should be busy about? Is this what Nigerians should be caring about right now? It's a problem. It's a big problem. This is why you see that people are doing whatever it takes to get money by all means necessary. It's crazy. We cannot continue like this. How long are we going to continue like this? How long? It doesn't make any sense to me. Instead of us to be engaging every part of, you should be hearing people talking about discussing the state of affairs of Nigeria. Nobody, people don't even care. As long as they can feed themselves for that day, that's all they care about. Let me just eat for today. That's, hey, God, I beg you. Hey, well, here I go draw the curtain because I beg. Now who gets strength? Now they continue to fight. We leave the fight today so that we get strength to fight another day. Now dear rich. Nelly, my darling, I'll see you on my next live. Oh, I bet not forget to like and share and subscribe. Yeah, so that we can get the channel to the, what's it called, the permanent site, whatever that permanent, I keep saying permanent site, whatever that permanent site means. But this 49.7 trillion is busting my mind. 49.7 trillion. The National Assembly not shake, fear not catch them. They not say, ha, Nigerians, ha, they no fear. They can't. 49.73. They give am to a man that has done jack shit for 1 full year, gone nothing when he don't do for Nigerians. Nigerians, I'm sorry for now. You have the dumbest group of people ruling over the supposed brilliant population. I dey doubt una brilliance now. I'm sorry. I dey doubt am. Come to find out, na the most educated ones, na them be the dumbest ones, na them be the what's it called? Na them be the servants for inside. They do the work of their masters. Ha! Masho. All right then, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye.